Welcome to the Monday Meetup. Yes, we're back. My guest tonight, a young man, when I say young, 32, Dean Boyd from Living Timber Co. Has been running his business in various forms for 8 years or so now, and started off in his parents' carport, and just goes to show you that with hard work and dedication, you can get a business up and running and do a bloody good job of it. He's a talented man. Started off in zoos, of zoology of all things, and now has become a very creative timber furniture maker. Uses some beautiful Aussie timbers. Nice to chat with Dean.
G'day Ash. First off, mate, thank you so much for having me on the Monday Meetup. I'm stoked to be a part of it. It's always good to do things with the woodworking community. We're all such an awesome bunch of people. So, yeah, and you do such an awesome job at doing all these edits and put all your time and effort into this. So, thank you, mate. So, yeah, back to the questions. What have I got here? Got a couple of things to go through. How did I start and when was the first interest in woodwork? I'd have to say that I've been interested in woodwork since I was really young. I remember tinkering away in the workshop with Dad out in our garage when I was really little. I never really looked at it as a business though. I sort of liked it as a hobby growing up, and I never really wanted to even get into this industry, to be completely honest. I ended up going into the zoology field, so I became a zoologist.
Now, I knew Dean was into zoology and worked in that field initially. What I didn't know was he's very fond of the slippery things. Seriously, mate, if I had known that, I probably wouldn't have had you on the show. How can you like those things? Each to their own.
And an animal scientist, and I did that for pretty much my whole career up until I decided I wanted a bit of a change, and then I kind of just fell into woodworking, and then next thing I've started this company. So I suppose I started just coincidentally, to be honest. I was out of work and I was looking for something else to do, and I started denailing timber, building tabletops like this out of old fence palings for a bloke. I did that for a few years, and then thought I can do this on my own. So I went out and started working in Mum and Dad's carport. Had a couple of small tools, built my first dining table and sold it for $900, and then that kind of got me excited, and I went, well, I think this is going to go somewhere. And then, and now we're here. Any formal training, or am I self-taught? I did do TAFE for 2 years, and then I started the company halfway through my trade, and because I didn't have a qualified tradesman working under me, I couldn't finish the rest of my TAFE course. So I would say that I'm predominantly self-taught. Those first 2 years of TAFE weren't really that exciting, and there wasn't really much hands-on work. So predominantly self-taught, and I don't really think that the whole qualification thing was needed, so I never went back to finalise that trade. what do we got here? Question 3. Give the viewers a brief overview of the company. How long have I been in business and what do I specialise in? So the company, like Living Timber in its whole, is virtually custom-made furniture. That's the main side of the business is building custom pieces of furniture for anybody and everybody. But we also now have a trade side of the company as well, where we sell woodworking products for DIYers or just about anybody really. So I started the company in 2015 in Mum and Dad's carport, and then I moved into a 150 square metre unit out the front of this complex that I'm currently in now, and then about 2.5 years ago I moved into this 420 square metre unit. So slowly progressed and got into something a bit bigger. Biggest challenge I've faced in the business to date and how did I overcome it? There is a lot of challenges in business, always overcoming something. Biggest challenge I suppose was when I did first move into this building, we were being pushed out of our old building because the old building was sold out from under us, and we had a very short period of time to move, and at that time business was booming everywhere, so there wasn't really many units available. So I was looking around for about 6 or 8 weeks and there was just absolutely nothing. And then the week that we needed to move out of the old unit, I was starting to stress out and thought that maybe the business was going under, and that was it. I had to give up because I can't find anywhere to move. And then this unit that's a lot larger than what I originally was looking for became available in that same week. So I thought, you know what, it's going to be a little bit tougher, but as in the overheads are a hell of a lot more, so that's going to be a little bit rough. But I just dove in deep and bit the bullet and went for it. I thought at that time I'd been in business for I think about 6 years, and 5 or 6 years, and I thought, yeah, we should be able to do this. We've got a fair bit of work on, I should be able to cover it. And then as soon as we moved in here, business started booming even more. We actually had somewhere that I could display our furniture and do all that sort of stuff, and I had more space to take on more work. So yeah, I suppose that was probably one of the bigger challenges that I faced, because I did think that I was going to lose the company.
Now, in the early days, Dean wasn't just about timber furniture. He's going to hate me for this, but here's one of his very early on promo ads, just to give you some reference of how far he's come.
Oh, hey guys! I bet you didn't know that we sell cushions as well. I got plenty of them. Just look at the mountain that I'm sitting in at the moment. These guys here, custom sizes, whatever you want. These specific ones are 30 by 30 and 45 by 45, starting at $29 each. But I can do any size that you want. And not only that, any pattern and any colour. We've got like hundreds, if not thousands of different colours and patterns. I'd show you guys over there, but at the moment I'm a bit stuck. So I'll get you guys to hit me up in the DMs and I can show you all the different patterns that we've got.
What is one critical piece of advice that people may overlook when starting a business? What is one critical piece of advice? To be honest, I think the most important thing when starting a business is don't go too big too quick. I've seen a lot of guys go under quite fast because they get too excited and splurge and buy all these fancy machines and spend a lot of money on stuff that really they don't need to, when you can slowly progress. Like, I've taken 8 years to get to this point where I am, and really I'm not in a massive sort of location. I don't have huge amounts of machinery and stuff. I got some stuff, but it's not massive sort of thing. So I always sort of like to slowly progress and do things, sort of really think about things. So a critical piece of advice would be just slow down, keep it a good pace, don't overdo yourself, and don't grow too big too quick. You never know what's around the corner. G'day everyone, it's Dean here from Living Timber. So with this lockdown, we have a lot of small businesses that are being affected by the closures. They're not able to get the revenue that they usually do. So I want to start a new trend, support local shout out. Each morning I want to support a new small business and shout them out and let you guys know what they're doing throughout the lockdown and what you can do to help them and support them. So there's been plenty of times in this company where we've had a hell of a lot of work on, and I'm stressing out at the fact I don't know how to get through it. And then there's been times where we've got almost no work on, and I don't know what we're going to do for the next month if we don't get anything coming in. So if you're not careful and you don't have that little bit of a piggy bank saved up, then things can go awry pretty quickly. You speak of the importance of working on the business as opposed to working in the business. I suspect many people underestimate the time involved and the importance. So I do agree with that. A lot of people do underestimate the time that's involved in actually working on the business. Working in the business is great. That's how you can produce products and get them out the door. But if you're not working on the business and figuring out how to get those customers in the door and doing your marketing and advertising really well, and if there's people that do their social media side of things, that's technically a side of marketing and advertising. If you're not focusing on the business as a whole and you're just building products to pump them out the door, then the day that things do go quiet is when it could be hard for you. If you don't have something sitting there to sort of jump on, then it could become quite difficult if all you've been doing is just building, but you're not focusing on actually growing the business outside of just building for the business. How important to my business is having a social media presence? So that one's sort of a bit of a hard one. In my personal opinion, social media, it's fantastic. It's great for a lot of people. I can probably make the time if I really wanted to, but I don't have a huge sort of want to go onto social media and do all these videos and stuff like that. As much as I'd love to, I do have footage of stuff I've filmed over the years, but I just haven't actually sat down to edit it and put the effort into social media. A lot of my effort goes into marketing and advertising for the actual company through our website, Google Ads, and doing all of that SEO work and all that sort of stuff behind the scenes that people don't see. I personally think that's more important because you can reach a larger audience over a broader range of things when you're optimizing your website as your predominant source of income. If you solely rely on social media, like there is a lot of guys I know that solely rely on, say, Instagram or YouTube to get their work in the door, which is great, but then one day, what if those things aren't around and then the next new platform comes on? Then you need to start from scratch and build up again. So there's definitely a place for social media. If I had the time, I'd love to get on there more, but I sort of do my little Instagram stories and that's about it. But yeah, most of my work comes through our website. So I personally don't think that it's as important for my business, but it is definitely really important for a lot of other people's businesses if that's what they sort of specialise in with their social media presences. What's the most unusual commission request you've had, and did I take it on? I actually get quite a lot of unusual commission requests. Even though we do custom-made furniture, I am quite picky with the pieces that I will take on board. So I get a fair few unusual things that sort of come through the door, but to be honest, I don't usually take them on because they're usually not worth my time if I can build more of something else rather than just working on that one product for, say, 6-8 weeks or whatever it may be. But yeah, we do get quite a few weird, unusual commissions through the door. What else? Is there a favourite piece that I have built? That's a tough one. Favourite piece that I've built. Let me think. That's too hard. I've built a lot of pieces that I really like. I'm actually my missus hates it because I tend to build things and I keep them here and I don't want to sell them. So that's always hard, especially if it's a really nice slab of timber and I've made a nice dining table top or something. I've got a couple around in the showroom here that I don't have advertised because I don't know, I want to do something with them eventually for myself. But yeah, favourite piece, man, I honestly couldn't even answer it. I've got too many pieces that I've loved, that I've built. A lot of them have gone into customers' homes, which is great. It's good to know that piece is getting loved and used by somebody. But yeah, I get a bit attached to the things when you put all those hours of work into it. I really get attached to it. A timber species that you refuse to work with and why? I don't really like silky oak. That's probably one species I'm not a fan of. The dust from silky oak makes me super itchy and I get these rashes all over my arms, so I'm not super keen on silky oak. Let's see, you have quite a selection of slabs and etc. available. Where do you source your timber from? So I've just added a whole bunch more slabs to the website. A bunch of these spotted gum slabs are now on there. The big camphor, the big beautiful camphor is up there. More little spotted gum slabs, ironbark, river red gum, silky oak, tallow wood, high feature grade black butt, swamp mahogany, some more camphor. So I've got plenty of that available. They're all on the website and there's still more to come. So check it out, guys. So I work with about 24 mills Australia wide. I now solely just purchase from the mills. About 4 or 5 years ago, we used to mill our own timber on our Lucas mill. And that was exciting, but it's a whole nother ball game when you're milling timber. And then we need space. You've got a yard where you've got to store logs, and then you've got to find the logs and all that stuff. It just became easier for me to work with these larger mills where we can get pretty much any species of timber that we really want to get, which is great. And I've built such a good relationship over the last 8 years or so with these guys. So they're all really good to me, and we work great together. And yeah, so I suppose that's it. I get them from Australia wide. We bring stuff over from WA, from Melbourne, Queensland, yeah, everywhere. From the centre of Australia, get some desert species in every now and then. They're a little bit more pricier, but we get them every now and then. And then, yeah, we have them available and stuff like that for people to purchase, as well as me working on them as well. Next question. One tool that would dramatically reduce your productivity if you did not have it. I would probably say our wood whiz. The day that I bought that wood whiz, I was cheering. That thing is incredible. We're actually looking at upgrading it to a little bit larger one. At the moment, we can do 1400 wide by 4.8 meters long. So it's a decent size, but 1400 sort of limits if we've got monster slabs that we can't do. But that wood whiz, if I didn't have that, like, we can flatten slabs in an hour or two rather than in a few days when I was doing it by hand with one of those old school router sled type setups. So that's one tool that I would say that would dramatically reduce my productivity if I didn't have it. Alright, got a few of these set up on the wood whiz, some cool funky ones. Might not get to them today, but I'll try. If I can skim them today, I will. If not, they'll get done by the end of the week. But at least I got some on there. The least favourite part of the build process. So I think everybody knows this answer. Every woodworker would probably have the exact same answer, but it would be sanding. I despise sanding, and it's probably the most important step in woodworking. So for me, I'm definitely going to say sanding. That's one thing that I just get frustrated with, and I'm quite picky, so I tend to be there for hours on end, just getting everything perfect, which I suppose is a good thing, but also it's a bad thing at the same time, because I'll be there for hours sanding. Ugh. Alright, so as I'm sanding this, what I usually like to do is I'll use some isopropyl alcohol spray in between grits for the resin sections, just to clean off all that dust and whatnot from the previous grit. Even though I've got the vac set up and whatnot, and there's really minimal dust, it just sort of helps to get rid of all those sort of swirl marks when it comes to the next grit. So I've got any pieces are quite large. Do I have people to help, or do I have to get creative with manoeuvring these pieces around? So yeah, I do work with a lot of large things. We do large conference tables and whatnot, and it is challenging. I have had employees here at some stage. I'm back on my own again, or me and my missus. She does all of the other side of the business. I do a lot of the build stuff. When there was other guys working here, when there was a couple of boys here, it was easy because they would lift everything for me. I didn't have to do anything then. But now I'm back on my own, and I'm slowing it down a little bit. I have to get back to being creative. But we've got the forklift. I got a couple of winches around the shop, so it's not that hard now. But I do remember in the old shop that was a nightmare, trying to manoeuvre big slabs around in 150 square metre fully chockers blocked with timber everywhere. That was not easy. A little bit easier now with a bit more space. Let's see, what have we got? What percentage of our business is repeat customers, and how important is it to build relationships with your customer base? I love my customers. It's great. We actually have quite a few repeat customers where we'll do, say, a bathroom vanity for them, and they'll come back to us and want us to do a bedroom suite or dining table or TV unit or whatever. So I love building relationships with my customers. I keep in contact with a lot of my regulars that buy from us quite often, and some of these customers I've been working with for 7 years, 8 years, pretty much the whole time I've been open. So it's very important to me to have a good relationship with our customers. And what percentage is repeat? I'd say that we're probably around maybe that 10 to 15% is probably repeat, and then the rest is new customers that come on board. So it's not a huge amount, but we still do have some repeat business there. Tell us about the podcast. How did it come about, and what is the long-term goal for the podcast? So the podcast, I know there's probably a few people out there that listen that notice that season 2 hasn't come out yet, but bear with me, that is coming out this month. So that came about. I've actually been wanting to do a podcast for quite a number of years now, and I've just never been able to find anyone that wanted to come on board and do it with me, because I wanted to have a co-host. And then Jared from the Grain Designs hit me up one day and he goes, "Mate, would you be keen on doing a podcast?" And I went, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So season 1 launched, went good. We got quite a few listeners, so thank you. If any of you are watching, thank you very much. This season, for most of this season 2, it's going to be me co-hosting. Jared will be coming back, but he's on a bit of a hiatus. He's got a new family member, so little baby boy, so he's doing that for most of the year, and I'm going to be doing the hosting on my own. But we've got some big things with the podcast. I've got quite a few big guests lined up, so I'm pretty stoked for that. With those hockey sticks, I was going to ask, are they going to be playable? Are you making them so that you'll be able to play with them? Yeah?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's the plan. So I haven't talked about it publicly yet, but I'm renting.
No, actually, I just realised that. Sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. We'll drop the news on here. Everybody will know now.
Exclusive.
I'm renting a rink out for a couple hours. We're going to play with them, and I got some special guests showing up to play.
Oh, nice.
Including the French Canadian Pat Lab.
Oh, that's exciting.
So he'll be there, and a bunch of other people. The whole Making Fun crew is supposed to be there.
Let's see. Work-life balance, how do you manage it? Well, for me, this is, I don't know. I don't see this so much as work. I love what I do. So, like, you do need a work-life balance, but for me, like, woodworking and business is my life. So it sort of is a little bit difficult, but I love that. The missus probably not so much. She gets a little bit annoyed at me when I ramble on too much about woodworking, so which is understandable. But at the end of the day, that's what pays the bills and puts food on the table. So I'm going to have to deal with that one. But yeah, work-life balance. I don't know. I love what I do, so I'm here pretty much all day, every day, and that really doesn't faze me. I will probably get to a stage where I don't want to do that, but at the moment I'm enjoying it. So more than happy to keep doing it the way that I'm doing it. Do you have a bucket list, and if so, what is on the top of that list? I'm not sure. I just love plodding along doing my thing. Bucket list would be to, I suppose, I'd love to get a large property with a massive shed on it, and I can just do my own thing on that shed, and maybe I don't really know. Yeah, that's probably what I want to do. I'd love to host like woodwork conference type things where we have a whole bunch of other makers and woodworkers from the community that can come by. That's a big dream of mine, is to create stuff like what they do in the States. They've got a lot of those workbench cons and Maker Central and all that sort of stuff. So I'd love to do something like that here in Australia on a big property where we can do a big weekend of a maker weekend and have a few sort of fun things for people to do. So that's probably on the top of my bucket list, but who knows? That could be a while away. Let's see. What do you love about Australia? Mate, what's not to love about Australia? Honestly. Vast open country, beautiful people, the freedom here. yeah, what's not to love? I love Australia. Everything from its native wildlife down to the vast open land and how incredible Australia actually is. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, all right, that's all the questions. So, mate, again, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And, yeah, I'm stoked to continue watching the Monday Meetup. And thanks for having me on. All right, cheers, mate.